Let me get a drink. I forgot to do that. Starting soon. Alrighty. Let's get cracking. Let's get cracking. So, I've been trying to bolster my asset repository. As you can see here, I've got 934,000 indexed files in my asset database. 2,400 packages indexed. Not everything's fully indexed yet, but I'm kind of lacking in the 2D pixel art and kind of tile maps 2D. I got a lot of 3D. So I've been trying to beef up the 3D side of the world. So there's this really great asset bundle here from ELV Games. 200 different packages, just tons and tons of 2D characters, art, UI elements. Wonder if this has audio too. No, it's just images. But lots of good stuff here. To boot, this here is going to really pump up my 2D art and pixel art numbers. And then this is an asset bundle for that same developer. So for 25 bucks, you can get 80 of his packs, and you got to redeem them on his website. What I did is this one has a lot of sound. I think the sound effects are included in this other pack, the complete bundle or the mega bundle of his. But if not, whatever. I've got plenty of sounds. But this is a great way to pump up the numbers of my 2D assets and my 2D icons, 2D tiles, 2D maps, all that good stuff. So I didn't buy this. I went with I went to his website. I saw his featured game bundle, mega bundle, and then I went to Itch and bought this for $59, which has 200 different asset packs. I really gotta figure out a way to stop the bots. Oh well. It's always the first message. I hate it. I don't like it. I wish it would go away. If someone knows, tell me. So right now what I'm doing is I've purchased it and I'm downloading all of these assets to my D drive. So all of his stuff here is in Unity packages or it's in zip files. So basically now I've got the job of downloading all these, and then I can index them using the index additional folders option of Asset Inventory 3, and it will index Unity packages from my local drives, media folders, and archives, which is zip files and whatnot. Yep. So that's very good, very good. I'm not going to do that now because this is kind of intensive. It takes up a lot of my computer's power just to index it. Well, it doesn't take a lot, but it does enough to where like running this editor and indexing at the same time can be annoying, even on a high-powered machine. Like I've got a 4090 and I don't know, some very recent AMD CPU and all that. So I've got a beefy box, but I don't want to do that. What I thought about doing is just continuing the download of this, or because so what I've been doing is I got a system, right? So I click on it here. Now this has got a parentheses 1, so I've already downloaded this guy. So I'm gonna hit Control W to close that tab. Hit download, confirm I don't have a copy of this one yet. Hit enter. Control W. I've already got this one downloaded, so Control W on it. This one's not downloaded. Control W, and then work through all these tabs I got open. But, oh crap, did I lose track of where it was? I'm like on page 3 of this bundle. Yeah, here it is, sorry. Yeah, page 3 of 8. So I still got to open up a ton of tabs, download all these. If someone knows how to bulk download your itch.io assets, that would be amazing. And one download games. That would be the tool to do that. Hopefully I can find a bulk downloader. Yeah, I'm streaming. What's up? Well, I was downloading a bunch of 2D artwork to index into my database. Yeah, so I got 934,000 files of game assets indexed already. But I'm going to expand it. So I got a D drive folder here with tons of 2D assets. So, but
you just download like them from any game, or does it have like a 3D model like section?
It's 3D models, yeah. But I've got a lot of 3D stuff. I need 2D textures to get.
I didn't know they had models you could download.
Yeah, well, tons and tons of free stuff. But see how the art style here is really 2D?
Yeah.
I need textures that I can use on 3D models that aren't in this format.
Lower graphics.
Yep. So this bundle pack here has tons of tiles, 16 by 16, 32 by 32 tiles, which will look great when applied properly in Blender.
I normally use it for horror games.
But yeah, anytime there's free assets or anything, I always compile or download them.
Yeah, same with me on Edge. I look for like the free on sale horror games there for free and just claim them so then
So fancy. This is my procedural generation so far.
Good.
The rocks are not right. Their scale is messed up and they aren't textured to match.
Some of they look like they're built up a lot.
Yeah, these I gotta fix them in the procedural details so they don't spawn so massively.
Yeah.
But.
And they're spawn outside of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's another thing. Almost everything needs to spawn into
free space.
Into a tile. But some things like this, when it drops in, it needs to it basically will do a collision check, and any other details that are there, it will delete it. And it'll take the space away from them.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna do like a single tile assets pass, and then a large object pass that will delete
the small objects.
The smaller ones, and place it in the world nicely. Because there are overlaps happening and stuff.
You got some like crafting tables and stuff.
I got a ton of crafting stations, but they're on a flat plane. It's gonna be awesome. Now I'm gonna probably get back to that's what I was working on is the crafting system and the items and all that. So, but you know, it is. It's coming along nicely. Is Kelton here?
Are they downstairs?
I don't know. Sounds like they're outside.
Are they outside?
I don't know.
No, they might be.
All right. That might be Keldon. It sounds like they're downstairs. No, they're outside. They are outside. All right, so what I'm going to work on tonight.
You seen this new roguelike game that came out?
Mega Bonk? Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about that.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's doing numbers.
Yeah, it's like it's been building up recently. People have been playing a lot.
Even Expedition 33's devs are like, I don't know, I think it deserves Game of the Year.
Mega Bonk?
Yeah.
It looks like a really good roguelike. I've been watching YouTubers play it.
I've been meaning to play more roguelites because I kind of am going towards a roguelike.
I really like roguelike games. They're one of my favorites.
Yeah, we should play a couple here sometime.
Mega Bonk has a multiplayer mod.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Last time I checked it, I searched up roguelike multiplayer and it said it had a multiplayer mod.
I've been researching a lot of the older roguelikes and the newer ones and kind of finding a lot of stuff. One.
See, it's like this is the co-op mod. You can like play with your friends and stuff.
That's badass.
People be quick on modding.
Oh yeah, I need to do more modding, but I gotta ship a game first, then I'll get back to modding.
Yeah. You know, Silk Song's multiplayer was kind of like bad when it released because you couldn't. The second player couldn't attack any creatures. They could only attack the other player.
No.
Which I didn't.
I didn't know they. Yeah, they modded that one yet.
They modded it. That multiplayer mod came out like almost as soon as it came out, but like it wasn't the greatest. Well, I don't think it's still don't think it's that good right now.
Yeah, you gotta give them time to mature. You don't want it like the our Subnautica one that just bugged and doesn't actually work.
Sad when it bugged out.
Yeah,
we were pretty far.
It may have matured more, but Subnautica 2 I think will have multiplayer.
Yeah, Subnautica 2 is supposed to be multiplayer.
Alright. I need to. What do I need to do here? Where is it? I don't know what they're doing out there. Where's the prefab? Okay. So it should be, yeah, these aren't ground layer. Okay. So let's do this. I need to regenerate the level. More spell. Or no, I don't need to do that. Ooh, biome details.
Also, they might just be adding it to like multiplayer because in the patch notes they said like for major stuff that people have been asking for, they said maybe multiplayer and more maps and stuff.
For Mega Bonk?
Yeah, they might just be adding it to the game in general.
Yeah, that'd be smart of them.
Yeah. Not too many roguelikes are multiplayer.
No, they are not. That's the kind of kicker, though. If you want like a turn-based rogue-like or whatever, it's hard to do multiplayer.
You can have so like the enemies don't attack them, like attract to them while they're trying to select their stuff though.
Yeah.
Like when they're getting like their new stuff, abilities and menus and stuff. Like Mega Mark, you like all the creatures pause around you when you're in like the select screen for your stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like normal for a lot of roguelike games.
Well, that one obviously it's a high or Vampire Survivor clone essentially, but 3D.
There's a lot of them, like 20 minutes till dawn and stuff like that. I don't know if you know 20 minutes till dawn. It's pretty good. I think I played Vampire Survival. No, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna fix the rock sponge.
Yeah, I've played this game. This one?
Yeah, Vampire
Yeah,
Survivor. Yeah.
I think I played on itch. It was like the same thing. I think.
Well, there's a bunch of clones of it.
It was like it looks the exact same as this one. I think it was named the same. I don't remember.
So we go 0.5 to 1. Love you. Chunk. Butterfly, butterfly. So I would like, so now that I've updated that, I put this here. I'll close that one. Save my layout. Now I'm going to clear the generated map. Now that I got the rocks scaled better. There we go. No mega rocks no more. So as you can see, every single thing that can be procedurally generated is part of a biome details set, and then you can pick the biome that it's associated with here. And every single object you can decide how dense it is, how many of them are spawning, the minimum vegetation needed for that thing to spawn, and the minimum fertility that is required for it to spawn. If it requires rock or avoids rock, and then you can provide position offsets if it's not sitting right on the ground, like the 3D model's pivot isn't at the base of the model. You could adjust it so you don't have to go into Blender or whatever and change the pivot of the actual model. Then you can determine the minimum rotation and then the maximum rotation, randomized rotation of the spawned object. So every rock doesn't sit down facing the same way. Every plant, everything gets a random rotation, and then there's the minimum scale change and the minimum scale multiplier. Position offset, I would like another option here to randomize position. So instead of them always landing in the middle of a tile, so this guy, they get spawned right in the middle of the tile they're on. It would slightly offset them so you could get a little more natural look. It'd be good for grass especially. And I also would like grass to intelligently clump up in bigger patches and stuff instead of being per tile. But it looks pretty damn good the way it is. So I've got some tools built into my procedural generation so I can analyze it. So right now I'm going to tally up all the things that just got spawned and how many there are. So it puts it into my console, but it also puts it on my clipboard. So here I can see we got 1,200 grass 2s, 1,200 grass 1s, 1,200 grass 3s, 145 rocks, bushes 102. So I can quickly, so it's a total of 4,500 objects that were spawned into this map. I can see the how much of each thing is getting spawned, and if I want to dial that up or down. And it's just This is I completely hand rolled procedural generation and biome systems that I've built. Um, and two, I can, so say I can take this here, it's on my clipboard. So I can go like this. One, I could use it in an AI to analyze how things are looking, but then I can also dump the settings to clipboard. And now I can quickly every single prefab in all of its settings. Actually, it's not dumping all the settings. It's not dumping the transform stuff. So I may improve this. But right here, I've got a quick blurb to see everything. And then I could, ultimately, I would like to be able to actually just tweak the numbers here and import it back into the biome set instead of having to go through this UI. Because this window only gets so big with the array. I wonder if I can change this because I hate how it only gives me this little section here. I wish it would expand bigger. Maybe I can do that. And this is my own custom editor scripts and procedural generation system for the 2D map or the world map or local maps, not the world gen. There's a whole planet procedural generation that I've built also. And this is actually linked to it because this section here, this chunk, is, you'll notice if I clear it and then regenerate it, the land, if you look closely, the land stays the same because this is a chunk from the world map. And what's actually being randomized is all of the props. So the trees, everything else is spawning differently. So oh, already? Nice. Yeah. 4 on Kick? Wow.
Getting up there.
Could be bots. Kick is pretty bad about bots. I had that, I was getting 20. Again, it's been a while since I've streamed really seriously. I had a good following a year ago.
Yeah, but then stopped for a long time.
Yep. I'm going to try to keep it up now. This is the 18th stream for this.
Oh, nice.
Alrighty.
Yeah, if you keep streaming, the more viewers you get, you'll get it.
Oh, yeah. Is there a collider on this? I believe there is not. No colliders. Which I don't actually want physics colliders on these. I just want them to be temporarily add a collider to the mesh, use that collider to detect if it's touching anything else, maybe, and then delete it when I place them. And two, try to avoid it floating off the side of stuff.
Yeah. Make sure it's like all above it.
Yeah, I could do ray cast from this here down, down, down. It's where I can shoot a line until it hits something. And if it doesn't, if it's past a certain threshold, it will keep moving it over until all the ray cast are. Yeah, that's probably there's probably a faster way of making it sit more naturally. Two of these don't need to be as long.
You could also like make it so like land gets placed underneath it and stuff.
Yeah, I could do that. Well, what I should do is just find a section of land that can fit it and then drop it.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you make them like be different sizes.
I need to separate the large props from the smaller ones, and there's multiple passes to the world gen. But it still looks damn good for, my own system that I built.
It does. We'll get there.
Alrighty. Now I should be able to walk again. Or not. Why didn't that gen? Should be able to move. And there's a lot of optimization to do here. Because these will get placed and then placed into chunks like in Minecraft. There'll be one single mesh, and so this would be like 4 by 4 chunks, and then if the player destroys a cube, it would re-render that chunk only instead of trying to render. It would only be rendering 4 by 4 objects instead of thousands of objects right here, because that's thousands of shadow casters.
That'd be laggy.
That's 10,000 shadow casters, 21,000 batches of rendering. So it would drastically drop it once I actually combine the meshes after generation. So that's an optimization pass that I got to build. It will come in time. Why aren't you moving? Did I disable something? Pathfinding's not firing off. Okay. Let me see here. Why is... Oh, the game's not running. That's why. That'll do it every time. There we go. I can unpause the game, let the enemy come at me. His movement, his turn is super slow at the moment. I gotta fix that.
You killing your guy.
Yeah, see his action timer is right there. So every time he reaches .333 of a second, or basically seconds, he'll move. I need to make it way less.
Moves more.
Yeah. 0.1. Now he's on me. There we go. So the game should pause whenever I'm not moving.
Which is a really cool concept.
This is my debug menu I made. Make it rain. I can check on all the stuff, so I can click on him. I can see the body, all his health of his body parts. I simulate the arms, legs, organs, eyes, lungs, everything. So you can like damage.
So that'd be really cool if you stop moving, like the rain froze.
The rain should, everything should actually.
Maybe. That'd be kind of
Well, so the clock is running still, so the daytime is moving, even though
so
it's going day and night.
Eventually fix that.
Yeah, it'll be linked to my movement. But the rain, I think I'll just let, the weather effects I'll just let kind of keep going. Because that would look weird if everything paused. It'd look better if it's moving.
Yeah.
Because rain will only, the weather will only change. It will do a check every day that passes. See, it just did a check and stopped raining. Actually, I'm going to link the time of day to my movement. That's what I'm going to do first. His speed is stat based. That's why he starts off with such a slow speed. I got to increase his speed, or his stats. I'm playing a balancing game with that, but 0.1 is pretty good. He stays on me, and I can still get away if I really need to in a pinch.
So keep him just fast enough to be able to like kind of catch you.
So like 100 speed, I can take one action. 200 speed, I get to do 2 actions. If he uses 100 for every 2 to 1, 2 to 1. But enemies will have high speed too. So sometimes I move 1, and if he has 10,000 or 1,000 speed, he would get 10 actions to my 1 action. So like some monsters, it's about trying to debuff their speed because they're faster than you and they can do more than you. But that's a whole system I'm still working out. Can't catch me.
You eventually have so it loads chunks as you walk.
No, so it'll be So here's
You have like a set world, kind of.
yeah. Well, when you create a new game, you're gonna create your world.
So you can size yourself.
Yeah. Like here's what world generation looks like. So when you start a new game, you'll set your world generation settings, and then the world will spawn.
Yeah.
And now it'll create a random world like this, and you're gonna pick where you want to start your level, where you want to start your world at. So you can kind of see it creates towns too. The yellow dots are other factions, and then it tries to create roads to the factions, but the roads are bugged. They build across massive oceans and shit. It's so that's got to be fixed.
Yeah.
Road and river generation is still on my to do. But so you say you pick if you want to start up at the top of a mountain, you can. If you want to start up in a tundra, or you can start wherever you want. And then this data, as I'm clicking around, this shows the Perlin noise data that's used to generate that local map you saw in the other world. So that's how, like, here's a mountainous area.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta fix my triplanar shader. So there's mountainous, flat. And that's how you can, if you want to start off on top of a mountain area, this data will be used in this scene. Your local map, which is this chunk you see here. And now if you leave it, you go back to the world map and you can travel to other chunks.
Yeah.
But this data, this actual ground data is based off of that procedural world that's generated. So it's all connected and has continuity. So if a river's run through your thing and then there's a river to the tile north of you, you move from this map to that one, the river continues on through. It is badass. All right, let's link time to my movement.
Pretty unique concept.
It is. Well, I mean, I'm kind of modeling after Rimworld and Elin.
Yeah, and some of your own concept stuff.
Yeah, I want it to be controller friendly. I'm building this with controller support out the gate because those games are really keyboard and mouse heavy, and I want to create a game like them that is easily played with controller.
Yeah.
So, one of my major motivations. Time manager. Okay, so time will only update if the player is or the game is unpaused. Or sushi. All right, update. So we will not update if game state manager dot is paused. Return. All right, so that should make it to where now the time doesn't update unless I'm moving. Buddy, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. I love you. All right, so let's go full screen. F12. Time's not advancing. Time advanced 0.39 hours. Sweet. Easy as that. Now time is linked to my character. So, and the time will not advance. I'm going to try to walk until the sun comes up. Come on, come on, come on. I need to create a zoom so I can zoom out and click further away. We're 4 hours of time now advanced. 5 hours. This may take a while. Oh, sun's coming up. I'm getting the tent. It is dawn of day 1. Sweet. Alright, so time is now mapped. Or linked to my movement.
Quick.
2 lines of code. Alright. That's all I want to do there. Let's check in before I do anything crazy. Time manager. That'll happen. Alright, so now I'm checked in. Now I'll start making some serious changes. Source control is important. See the depth of field effect in the background there? It's like Octopath Traveler. That is going to be a toggleable thing. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's like in some like the older like core games, people don't like the VHS effect.
Almost every effect or post-processing effect, I'm going to give the settings so you can toggle it. Oh, actually, post-processing. Let's play with that. I need to add a vinaigrette or vignette, or I don't know how you actually. So here's bloom. Let's do this. I don't think I have anything to affect bloom.
Yeah.
I need more lights in the scene for bloom to matter.
True. It's like,
oops.
You can have a bunch of like decent amount of graphic settings for like people with like that have higher quality stuff.
Yep. Oh, I do have vignette. Or, yeah, vignette, I think is how it's pronounced. It'll be toggleable. Just a slight little bit. So it doesn't look so.
Yeah, a little bit looks good.
And saturation. Post-processing is an easy way to really play with the style and visuals of your game. The depth of field needs to be linked to the zoom of the camera. So, because if I zoom out now, it's going to look really vignette.
Yeah, you got it right.
You need to download Unity and start playing with it, or help me work on the game. I am building a roguelike. Well, roguelite.
Yeah. People get roguelite and roguelike really confused.
You can make it true roguelike, but you can also disable like permadeath. If you're trying to build and you're trying to do a long thing and not lose a lot of progress, you can do it if you want. Alright, so
like you have like a roguelike and roguelite toggle.
Yeah, you can toggle most of the game settings and make the game roll what you want.
Roguelike,
as hard or as easy as you want.
Roguelike would be more like a hardcore type world. If you die, the world's done. Or the character's dead.
The sun's going down. And it's only moving when I'm moving. Okay, cool. Cool beans. 155,000 triangles, 200,000, 294. Yeah, so like I'm barely pushing any triangles here, about 600,000 at this current state, 900K over here. And I don't have occlusion all set up right, so like right now I got 1.1 million here. Frame rate's at 100 something frames per second.
Yeah.
But also the frame rate's going to be lower because I'm running in the editor. Alright, sweet. Alright, more things linked to player time and pause. I need to beef up the goblin's stats so he moves faster. Strength, endurance, charisma, speed. 300. Popcorn's my addiction.
Indeed. I've been stealing your light buttered popcorn.
Over there?
Yeah.
You can have that. You can take that whole bag.
I've been just taking them to school. Put some salt in it. Makes it taste better.
Tastes just fine.
By itself, that was both salt. Makes it taste even better.
So the NPC or the player and NPC speeds are linked to act time. Get speed. Calculate act time. So it's based off the speed. Speed is getting the base stat speed. Which this should be the base stat is the default stats for a character or unit, but then this needs to have equipment, magical effects, and everything else applied to this as well as level and everything. So more of a derived thing. For now, I'm just gonna jack his speed up high. See where good. Well, I want 100 speed to. I want me. How I'm moving right now. I want 100 speed to be able to kind of keep up with me, or keep up with me. So it's 1-to-1. Because I like how fast the character's moving now, and I want that to be kind of the basis of the base character with no stats. Yeah, that's gonna make mic noise. What to do. So I'm gonna affect this. Act time 100 divided by speed. So 100 divided by 300 obviously is going to be that 0.333. So maybe let's do 10 divided by current speed. I probably should flip that calculation. That's probably way too fast. Actually, what I want is 100. I want 100 speed to equal 0.1. All right. Oh, how can I divide 100 to get... Don't look at me. I know math, I swear. Actually, I think it's just time or divide by 10. It might be 10. What the fuck? I'm an AI programming assistant focused on software development. I can't help you with general math questions. If you need the applied in the code, for example. Okay, fine, whatever. Wow. That's hilarious. I tried to ask it the equation I need, and it's like, I'm a programming assistant. I can't help you with math problems. Totally freaking can. That's so dumb.
This is the AI I use.
Yeah, Gemini is the best. I loves it.
This is the AI that's allowed at school.
Yeah, that's what. So X would be 1,000.
You do the pro version of it?
Yeah, yeah.
What's it do differently?
You get all kinds of access to different things. Like, well, the way I do learn stuff is I deep research a topic that I want to learn about, and then I take it and take that deep research, go to a canvas, and then I create a project plan out of that research so I can then implement it or learn it and stuff like that. So all these systems I've built are typically, that's the workflow I go through. So if we go back to the code, yeah, I want to flip this too. So speed divided by 1000. And then I'm going to make the goblin have a 100 speed. Go away, bot. Go away. I need to figure out how to get rid of them.
I think you have some auto delete spot messages, like a adoration AI type thing.
Yeah, I think that's from Twitch. That's a Twitch bot. So the goblin's base stats, speed 100. Now let's test. Yeah, look at that. I think, and I for the most part, I want you to be able to get away from enemies because if you just can't fight or you get into a bad situation and you're against a bunch of enemies with 100 speed, you should be able to escape pretty easily. Because again, players are going to feel cheated if this thing is just constantly on its ass, on your ass.
That'd be annoying.
But this might be, I might move too much compared to that.
Yeah, they still need to be like kind of catch up to you a little bit, maybe a teeny bit more.
But I want the players' movements to be fluid and not slow.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, 10 way too slow. I am screwed. And that's
moves
just
are still fluid, but
yeah.
yours move really slow.
Now he doesn't. The NPCs will never actually animate from their movements, so the turn-based nature of this still stays. 15. See, like 15's probably right.
Looks pretty good.
Well, actually, the player speed needs to be derivative of their speed stat. So this.
Would it matter?
No, wait. No, this is going to stay consistent. And then the amount of actions that I can take, like when attacking and stuff, that's where my speed's going to matter. So, because I can click on him. Oh man, it's starting to work really good. The damage effect has kind of bugged. It doesn't go off sometimes. 15's still too slow. I want the players to be able to get around the map fast instead of wasting time.
Yeah.
Fluid.
Closer to 20 then, probably.
Yeah. 20's really good.
Maybe make the enemy a teeny bit faster.
Yeah.
Keep the player moving fluidly and then make the just a little teeny bit faster. Make him be able to keep up a little bit more.
Well, again, like an Elin, you can go to a map that has enemies on it and feel. This game really is the movement and everything in it is what I'm going after. I wish this was multiplayer. This game is crazy. You should look up this game. But see that bat's chasing me there?
Yeah, it's kind of like similar to your game.
So what is his speed?
Is it like the time moves with your movement as well in this game?
He's got 220 speed. Yep, this is exactly, yeah. I have 105 speed.
So he's faster?
He is faster, and that's why he can keep up with me. Now my NPC's murdered him. But see, it allows you to have a turn-based kind of game, but it still feel fluid and real-time-ish. And that's why the enemies and NPCs don't path to where they're going, they just teleport. They do legitimately have to calculate a path that they can actually go to, but they just teleport to where they would go for that time.
Yeah.
So your speed is 100.
So the NPCs are kind of similar to your speed.
Yep. But again, because I can teleport them, if I can kind of play with it too. So if you're non-combat, your friendly NPCs can move around a few more spaces if they want it. This is one way you can raise your strength. You can hang yourself on this, and everybody comes and kicks your ass.
That's funny.
You should, yeah. This game is crazy. You should look up the reviews on it. No, in this they'll only lower you down to 1 or 0. They won't ever kill you.
So your NPCs just honestly beat you.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And then I can train on this dummy to raise my skill. But this is kind of the vibe I'm going for.
Oh, that lighting's super nice.
I want to get the God rays going. I like that.
That is super cool, like lighting.
The amount of crap you can do in this game is insane. Uh-oh, these guys suck ass. Only like magic can kill them. And I have none.
They have like off resistance.
Yeah, he would kill me fast. And I can go to auto combat.
Yeah, it does the right moves on auto combat that you need.
You can set the strategy for auto combat. So if you wanted to be ranged or stay away from an enemy, it'll do it. This is the world map for this. Mine's the planet, but I'm thinking about doing it flat.
Yeah. Depends. That one looks really good though.
Major inspiration.
Yours is more like a 3D, 2D type game. I don't know what kind that is.
That's isometric 2D. Now I'm doing 2.5D, so I get... And then that's hard. It's weird moving with the controller because everything's tilted in the isometric. And that's why I'm going with this direction, like this. So left is left, right is right, up is up, down is down. Yeah, so controller support works a lot better.
Makes it a lot easier for controller players.
Elin's got decent controller support. Actually, I think I want to work on getting the player moving with the controller.
Get that working sooner than later.
The menu, like the crafting menu, has got my inventory menu and everything can be controlled. Yeah, so there's no movement for that now.
We should try out Megabank sometime.
Oh yeah, is it free or how much is it?
Like $10.
Yeah, we can get it. Play it.
I want to see how to get the multiplayer. Could I like get it and then try to figure out the multiplayer real quick?
He is attacking way too fast.
He's like Flash. Can you check what's his attack speed?
It's the same as his action speed.
Can you edit that?
Yeah.
Like, change how much he can attack in that second, that little action speed.
Well, I want 100 to also affect how often they attack. Well, he was on pause too. Like the game was bugged, and see the time's moving. So when I move with the A, W, S, and D, it's a bug that doesn't stop time after I stop pressing it. So he was just go 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 go. It wouldn't have been that way if I was doing it mouse clicking. So I got to fix that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna work on controller support for movement, and
it's good to figure out what's like bugs now that they're doing later.
Yeah,
try to get them out of there before you fully finish the lead.
Cause see now he can attack me as I pass by, but he doesn't just keep attacking me.
Yeah.
Unless I turn time off.
It's looking really polished now though.
It is. It's the amount of systems. I got inventory, I've got crafting, I've got the world generation, local map generation, I've got character customization, I've got in-depth health, character stats, experience, skills, abilities. I got most all of the core systems, so I'm real close to where the gameplay loop is testable and playable.
So are you gonna really release like a demo or like a playtest type thing?
In my Discord, I'm going to
make a demo.
Let people in my Discord play the demos as I drop builds.
That's sick.
Here's my link tree for y'all. If you want to join the Discord, give me a like, follow, subscribe, all them jazzes. All right, controllers time. So let's go to the character unit.
The viewers are up right now. 15.
15. What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing?
You're also streaming to YouTube.
YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and X. I want to switch from X to Facebook, I believe. I just don't feel like people go to X to watch streams.
I know X, you can even stream X.
Yeah, you can if you pay for yeah, that's stupid. I'm getting off of X, yeah.
0 viewers. Surprising Twitch.
Well, that's my biggest following. I got like 8,000 followers on X, but
just like, you know, streaming's not like working too well. Like
well, it's a lot from my back in the day when I was trading stocks a lot. So they're not really gamers.
They're more stock trade.
I need to create a new X account dedicated to this.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
Your order placed on is about to ship. You know what's nuts is these are coming from the pharmacies that I built and stuff. So this is
that's cool.
The code I work on actually creates all this stuff here, but this is the station at that pharmacy that this was dispensed at. And like
that you worked at?
Yeah, so I know all this information, all the data, the barcodes and everything. Like
you like did that stuff.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yep. If anyone gets their drugs mailed to them, there's a high chance I had a hand in it. All right. I'm the biggest drug dealer you know. I work in healthcare. Calm down. But if you do get your medications delivered to you from a PBM or some pharmacy, good chance it went through my code, depending on who you go through. All right. So handle input. If move input XY, yeah, this is what I need to work on. Yeah.
Can I get Megabonk to try to figure out the multiplayer stuff?
Yeah, you're good.
I want to see if I can get it at all. Looks like you had a mess of popcorn over here.
You saw nothing. I eat popcorn at work a lot, and I also, you can follow my trail of popcorn. No.
I was walking out of school with the popcorn, with a bag of popcorn, and I kept accidentally dropping it.
It's hard if you don't eat it one piece at a time. If you try to do a handful, it's like destined to drop a bit.
Yeah, it's bad. I was walking around talking to some of the teachers. I pretty much got all my missing work submitted today.
Nice.
So that's good. My American literature and all that stuff. I think I got all the government and American literature all submitted. So all those grades are doing good.
Are they sticking with the no cell phone stuff?
Yeah. Most of the teachers really don't care.
I figured they would. Really, yeah, the teachers would stop caring first.
None of the teachers. I haven't seen someone get in trouble for it, but like most teachers are giving warnings, and the school district's getting mad that they're doing that because some students were like, "She gave me a warning to the principal," and the principal's like, "They're supposed because you're supposed to send them straight to the office if you see their phone."
Yeah.
So a lot of the teachers, almost all the teachers are giving warnings. So the principal is a little upset with all the teachers about that.
I mean,
yeah, how to happen.
Yeah, it is.
I've been putting in my backpack for the most part. They give you wired headphones there, so it's not the worst. They're kind of bad quality though.
Yeah, I bet. Airline headphones.
Yeah, it's like the cheap, like giant quantity of them they buy. They break so easily.
Oh yeah.
The cord is like snapped to my backpack like twice, so I had to get like a new pair. They're super cheap, but they work. But
love you. Current mode. So how? I'm using the new input asset for character movement. input action, callback. So find action move, okay. So let's go to our input asset and let's update that guy. Let's go back to this layout. So move, I got W, A, S, and D. So now I want to create a new action set under here. Up, down, left, right, composite. Still not the best with the new input system, but I kind of have a general idea. Can I copy this and then go back here? Paste. Sweet. Composite part up. Let's see if that works. I need to dynamically switch between keyboard and mouse. Like as soon as you touch the keyboard and mouse, it flips all the UI, all the glyphs of the UI switch between what glyphs are represented. So let's hit play. I don't think this is going to work right away, but we'll see. I'm still not the best at the new input system, but it is very handy. I just need more time in it. You know what I mean? Hey, that did work for a second. Quit killing me. So let's do this. Let me turn off the NPC so it won't kill me. And there's a bug still with the time not being paused. But if we go to window, general, what is it I'm looking for? Sequencing, analysis, input debugger. Okay, so now let's hit play. I think my son was just hanging out, so he asked me to buy my Mega Bonk. He should have just asked. I would have said yes. All right. So I can see the input is being honored. Why did it disc? Oh, I bet you my batteries are low. Hold on, let me grab some batteries. We're gonna figure out this old gain input whatnots. All right, because I do want to get, I want to get input going sooner than later. Plus. I got the keyboard on this guy. One, I was trying to find a control scheme for Rimworld and other roguelikes where I can control most of it with the keyboard or the gamepad, and then what I needed when I needed key presses, I could use that. So let me see here. Do 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 do. Need to figure out how to stream music and not get copyright striked. Turn you back on. So this is a cool little trick that I like to do. So like right now, if I press up or W, I don't move. If I press D, I'm not moving, but left and down seem to work great for the most part. Until they don't. I need an occlusion shader that will hide stuff that's in front of me. Why do you keep disconnecting? Oh, I know why. I think I don't have this thing attached to my computer, which I believe is part of the Bluetooth. So, all right. So basically, for the input, we need to fix the bug to where time doesn't stop, because you can see right now time's advancing, even though it should stop after I let off the key presses. But if I move and then stop, my click to move is working properly. These flowers, that little drop shadow, I need to take that out because they're actually going to just use real shadow casting. All right. So what I'm going to do is basically record a video and then kind of talk through what I've got going on here. So F12 that. Boop, boop. So I'm going to hit start recording. So I'm trying to get click to move works fine, and it stops the time of the game. So time doesn't advance and everything pauses. This controller keeps disconnecting. I probably need to plug that in sooner than later. So now when I do WASD, W and D don't move anywhere. Left I can go for a while, down I can go for a while, but then eventually it just stops moving. And I don't know if that's, I think it's basically, let me see here. It's not, oh, I bet you I'm not actually pathing. And it's just like, this is a hard stop right here. I can't go past it, and it can't go up on ledges. So if we go like this, or go over here, yep. So the WASD is not allowing me to, even though it's a one tile move each time, it should do a path and then follow that path just like the mouse click. Well, I can make it a more rudimentary check so I don't have to do pathfinding calculations. It can just basically always check that the cell that I'm trying to go to is, one, it's walkable in the pathfinding grid. Two, there's no other units there. No, I do want to use the pathfinding because of the transversal provider that's in the single node blockers is how I keep all the units from walking on top of each other and not blocking. Because like right now, the player doesn't block himself. Anything that isn't walkable would be a red square, and right now nothing is actually coming across as not walkable. I'm going to make these trees not walkable. So let me do this real quick and show you what that looks like. And that's, what's it called? Wood. Oops. So now I'm going to turn these into obstacles by setting them in the layer. And then I'm going to rescan my pathfinding grid. Oh, right, they don't have colliders. Forgot. So now I got to give them colliders. Mesh collider, convex. And now I rescan the grid. Now you see these have become unwalkable. And again, it's a little aggressive. I'll refine it. But now I have unwalkable sections of the map. So now I'm going to path around this guy. See that? And that's another reason why when moving with a controller, I don't think I want it to automatically like, oh, attempt to move here and then go to this spot. I want it to actually just keep bumping up against that. So I really will, if I can't move to the tile I'm trying to do when I'm using controller input or WASD, I won't move. So basically I got just a bug with the up down. Oh shit, I need to stop recording. I shouldn't even start it. Because what I was trying to do is just talk through my issues, and then I was going to kind of send that video to Gemini with the actual movement script. All right, so here we go. I want to add some logging. So this is only looking one way, and that's why I am only able to move in two, or left and down, because this isn't accounting for the other. Well, it's doing a math.absolute. Wouldn't that? Now this is a very spammy log. I'm not going to keep in there, but this will let me see what I'm seeing from the inputs and what I need to be accounting for. So let me close this. Hit play. That is a very temporary log. I should only log it when it's non-zero. Yeah, so you can go negative, 0, -1 is when I'm pressing left, 1 when I'm pressing D, or right, south is negative on the Y, and then north is positive. So that's why I'm only able to move in two directions. Why is it doing? Why is that? If the X move vector is greater than 5, Y is 0. I think that's preventing diagonal movement, which I don't think I want to prevent that. I want that. Let me see what the player, because the player can move diagonally now, I believe. Let me check the grid. Let's check the score on the grid, boys. Yeah, so connections 8. So, and I can cut corners. So I can move diagonally with mouse clicking, which I knew that. So I do want to support diagonal movement here. Request move. So it actually is using my register pending moves. And then the request move, which is going to say, just going to queue it, then action taken. Yeah, so actually this would fix the so this should fix it to where the game doesn't stay unpaused. So bring up the debug window. Move left, time stops. Move south, time is stopped. Move over here, time stop, moving, time stopped. Left, stop, down, stop. Perfect. Okay, so that's fixed. Actually, I don't need that anymore. I'm just going to do this. So we don't have a lot of changes. So handle input move input dot x and y can range from -1 to positive 1. I want to support right up down movement and diag. Alrighty. I can fumble my way through that, but I'll just go ahead and have this help. Damn, 23 viewers on YouTube. Hi, guys. Say hi if you're real. So I'm getting movement working with WASD and the keypad or gamepad. Then I'd work on I think I'll work on combat a little bit. Require stronger tilt to register a direction. Allow diagonals. I get if you do the absolute of the value, that's just gonna create non-negative value. And let's see. Which I think is fine. And that way you're working with 0 to 1 instead of -1 to 1. I believe that's fine. Again, I'm not the greatest mathematician. This thing keeps disconnecting. Yeah, no, that's what I thought. Need so now there we go. Diagonal movement's in there, but it's still W and D is not right. So I don't want to do absolutes here. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Let's see here. I will go ahead and accept that. $8:59. Okay, I haven't been streaming that long. Tomorrow's not a busy day for me either, so I'll probably be streaming for a while. I have this coded in another project. I could just go grab that. But let's see what it do. No dead zone. Yeah, add the dead zone back. People with shitty controllers need love too. All right, let's test this out. Dead zone -1, stick. Don't you do it. I feel like it took away, put absolute back in. I'm just gonna grab the code I have from another project. Let's get down on the flats. You son bitch. You did it. You did it. The dead zone from going -1 to positive would just be a variance of -0.5 to negative or +5, right? So the dead zone would be a range as well, I believe. So I'll just code that in. I need to get my crafting stations on this map. They're all set up for a plane testing. All right. Oh, what the hizzle? Is less than 0. It's greater than 0, 1. I'm probably going to open up my project that's got it working. I have done this before, but I think it was with the old input system. So I'm still adjusting to Unity's new input system. I thought about using Rewired, which is an asset that's highly praised for managing controllers and controller context and everything, but I'm trying to avoid adding any bulky assets to this project because right now, outside of the pathfinding, A-star pathfinding asset and asset inventory. This is all systems that I've got built out and hand rolled. So this is where I was playing out. Yeah, this is the old input, but prioritize horizontal movement. Yeah, that's not quite what I want, but it does work here. So this is where I was building out the pathfinding and getting it really rock proof. And then, so as you can see, these guys are going to chase me across this procedurally generated tiles. And they, staying on me. Fast calculations are happening. This is where I kind of, and they're using predictive pathfinding. So you see, like, when they do recalculate their path, they're predictively targeting ahead of me a little bit, which I have not implemented in the actual game. But see here, no way can I get into the same space as any of these other guys. So this is one of the big things that why I brought this project into isolation, is I wanted to be able to, everybody to be able to move fast and everybody's pathfinding to be fast, but also avoid any nodes or tiles on the grid. Never should two units be able to get on the same tile. And this is what this project's for. And I've basically ported all that back over to here. But I've got some tweaks to make here still with that. So let's test out this. $30 viewers, damn. Any game devs out there? All right, so positive, but it's not going. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this other Unity. And then I'm going to put a breakpoint in. Direction is non-zero. Round int. Current grid position plus direction. Get nearest. Because at this point, I can see my negatives and my positives. So positive, negatives are the ones that are working. The positive directions aren't. And as long as the direction isn't equal to 0, 0, I don't know if I love that. I guess it's working, but I can use the grid graph to get my exact grid position, so I may change that. So now we're going to take my position and then add the direction, get the nearest target X. So what I'm going to do is put a breakpoint right here. I'm going to attach to attach to Unity. Come over here. Now I'm going to press right. And now we have a direction of positive 1, 0. And I bet you target node is 1024, whereas my current grid is, that's interesting. But most likely this is what's causing me not be able to move. Yep. So it thinks that's unwalkable. Yeah. So again, that's why it's not working. So now if I do a left turn, my target node is going to be 1325, 2850. Yeah, this ain't right at all. Because my transform is not going to directly correlate to what is my current grid position? That's this is what's going on, I believe. So if I click here, I'm moving to 2452. So 2452 is where I'm at. Now, if I go, and my grid position is 2452, so actually that's right. It's this calculation, 2352, which, okay. Target node is 1126. $352. I think we have a translation issue. Well, actually, let's step in here. Come back here, bugger. Step into you. This node is just so way off. Like, now I'm stepping into the actual A-star pathfinding library. This is why. All except selector. And we have a node. Node contains any except selector. And we have 0 selector. Yep. It's because I'm not pathing, but why would it work in one direction or two directions? Why would that work? Hmm. 1126 is just way off. So the node that I'm finding with the get nearest is so off. Oh, I think I know why. Because well, I think this should handle it under the hood. Let me see here. Vector 3 position, get nearest. It should contains distance, get nearest, max scale constraint. Maybe it's not doing it. So the way the pathfinding system works is it doesn't work with, it avoids floating points when it's doing pathfinding calculations for speed reasons. So it actually, like, grid 3.3 is actually 3000 in the pathfinding library. And the reason they do that is because it's integer based math instead of float based math, and you're not worrying about precision and all that. And it's really helpful for when you're trying to create a really fast pathfinding system. So I bet you if I translate, if I apply that scale to it, so let me stop. So if I times these by 1,000, I'm just assuming this is the issue, but we'll find out shortly. and just conveniently, and that's why it's stopping. It's like it's got a limit and it won't walk. It only walks so far in a certain direction. No, that wasn't it. Damn it. What am I thinking? What am I missing here? One, I'm not pathing. I'm requesting a move and I'm taking it. Oh. I bet you this is returning the right thing. Yep. Grid graph. Data.grid graph, that's what I want. That is going to be okay, X and Z. So, I go like this. Let's try that. Should work, should not, maybe. We'll see. I'll actually go look at the mouse clicking stuff too. One, I still don't think I'm requesting a path. I'm just grabbing, I'm brute forcing. Well, no, I am using my transversal provider. So I think, there we go. Whoa. No hands, ma. So that was one press of the D. And it's not honoring the collision or the height of the, like the click to move is. So, why are you pain in my butt? So I am getting nearest to get my position information, and that would give me my node. And then I would take that node from the get nearest, apply the horizontal and the vert. Yeah, okay. Could have AI whip this out pretty fast, but I kind of want to feel my way through this too. A-star. This is I love A-star, man. It just makes pathfinding such a breeze, and it's so battle tested, and it works so well. So now that we have our nearest node, we're going to oh, right. Okay, so now we got our current X and Y in the grid properly. And now we're going to add direction dot X and then direction dot Y to get our new grid position. So this is going to be a vector 2. Our target node becomes vector 2. Oops, and Z. Now we're going to get that. Now this should be more accurate. So I can see what it's doing. All right. So ways I've worked with this asset before, because obviously the pathfinding grid has its stuff, right? It's got its own grid that it's got. And I always had my special grid that was like of the same space, world space units, and I kept my data and it's separate. Where this approach, I'm kind of keeping, trying to leverage the pathfinding grid for most all grid operations. Now, as for like grid data and a few other things, eventually, if I need to store more information, I could use tags, but I may end up having my own like special 2D array to keep track of those things. Fuck yeah, let's go. We are moving in all directions and diagonally everything. So what we had, the problem was the translation that it was happening. It was working. Oh, and it's going up and down. Life is beautiful. All right, let's try controller. Holy shit. Yeah, let's go. Man, this is great. Now, I bet you time is still... Nope, time's stopping. Fuck yes, dude. We are fucking moving without a keyboard and mouse. Alrighty, cool. Alright, so you kind of saw how I worked through that. Probably could have AI grind that out real quickly. But again, the AI needs to understand that I'm working with the A-star pathfinding thing, and it was trying to do some wonky shit. So now that that's working, I feel like this is a good check-in point. Added gamepad support and improved movement logic. Updated to handle raw access for movement, improve grid positioning calculation using A-star path, and ensure the game pauses when no input is detected. I love Copilot notes. The git commit notes is just 9 times out of 10. 99% of the time. Actually, it really hasn't failed me yet. So as you can see, every time I kind of make a good progress, I'll do a local commit. I usually push too, but I have a lot of granular check-ins because I want to make sure I can see what I've been doing and roll back if I get deep in the weeds on a change and it's just not working out. So always make sure you're using source control. Oh, fuck yes, dude. All right, let's put the enemy back in. Let's put a couple of them in. So on startup, they'll pop up to the ground. I should just hide all those crafting stations for now. In Unity, if you want to quickly collapse everything, you just go to the top arrow, alt-click the arrow, and boom, everything's collapsed. And then Control-Alt-A to disable real quickly. And then also, doop. All right. Another handy thing is Control backslash, or that's forward, yeah, backslash. Snap stuff to the grid. So if they're not on the grid, like if I just manually move this guy a little bit, Control backsplash. I think about kitchen remodeling too often. It'll snap it to the grid for you. 48. Damn. Might be my biggest stream since I started back again. Let's go. All right, so we got these boys coming after us. Now let's controller away. Yes. Oof. Now again, as you can see, I'm getting more free moves with the mouse movement here. Well, I don't know if I need to figure out that translation, but as long as I keep going. Yeah, let's see, yeah, like there. I don't know why it starts doing that. I need to investigate that. But we're moving. They're attacking. I believe their action timers are firing off faster. Because see how fast they get to attack when I'm moving like that? If I move like this, now you see 0.7 action timer, 0.19. He got one attack. I still got to play with the speed and the number of turns you get. Wait, did I just walk through him? No, I bet you he moved out of my way and then the other one took its place. A couple of those lines are a little messy there, but all right, regardless, we now have stick movement, but we got some issues there. So let me do WAS and D, see if that's more reliable. So it is, oh shit, I got killed. This is what I need to polish and work out how basically I almost think every time I move a space, that should be a set amount of time that gets advanced in the world. Instead of just unpause the game, accept all the delta times, and keep tallying it up. I move, I take an action. those actions advance the game world's time a set determinate amount, and I can probably control this flow better. Because right now, basically, whenever I'm moving or I'm mouse to moving, the game is on pause and we're ticking up time. Control T, game state manager, not monitor. Oh wait, that's not the actual. Maybe this isn't the class. Game. No, is it turn manager? Oh, what class takes that up? I forgot. I thought it was game state. No, it isn't game state. It is game updater, which is confusingly named. So right now, yeah, they're going. So they're going off the fixed update delta time. It'd be much better if my actions had a measurable time that it added advanced the world, and that way I could get stuff more in lockstep. Because my action timer doesn't actually count up and down. My input is driving the world state. So is it paused? Am I doing something? Unpause it. Allow NPCs to update their act timer by the time fixed delta time and the fixed update of the mono behavior. 52. Holy shit. That is the. This is like. This stream is wildly successful, or else it's just hammered with bots. Let's go, though. If you would like to join the Discord or follow me on other things, there you guys go. Okay. And again, I'm trying to model it after other roguelikes where you move and the whole world basically kind of updates. But I want you animate movement where they will instantly teleport to wherever they path to, or their next decision, or their next point in their path that they're coming after me with. And they will recalculate their paths on there's a few factors to when they will stop following the path that they've generated and dump it and calculate a new one. One, I've moved a certain distance away. Two, I have there's a couple other factors. One, they will follow it for a certain amount of time, and if they haven't updated their path recently, they will generate a new path to their current target. But I believe if I move one square in the game, I think that should deduct. So the current speed that I move right now is my player at 100 speed. One movement, one tile move in the game should count as a turn. And that should deduct from their act time by 100 as well. And And that way, 100 speed goblin, 100 speed player get the same thing. Now, if I had 105 speed, it would be the inverse. They would get, I would get to move. Well, my movement wouldn't cause them to. No, it's only, I think, 100 speed, 200 speed player, 100 speed NPC. I move twice, they move once. And the actions would also be reflected that way. This is because right now it's kind of real time, right? It's going off of the fixed update, so it's going off. It's not off of just a like the update method, but it's not fair. This is what I've got to figure out is how the speed affects me, what I do in the world, and the player NPC speed. And again, I think that's the model I want to go after is 100 speed, one action, 200 speed, two actions. And if I have 200 speed, I get to do two actions. But say an enemy has 400 speed, for my two actions, they would get to take four, or my two actions, they would get four. So they would have two more actions than me. And that's where you want, like, enemies that have a high speed, you want to debuff their speed. So they can't attack you 4 times in a turn. They can't. Yeah. Yeah, that's yes. Okay. My turn goes. I get to take my actions, and then every NPC gets to take the number of actions equal to their speed. I've been trying to crack this equation or this functionality. Again, Elin is a good model for this, but I gotta figure out the way that it feels the best. I'm pretty happy with it now. I may pivot gears and think on this more because I want to get this right. But I also want to I've got a lot of work done in the crafting systems and I want to work on that UI too. Control Shift A to enable. Yeah, I may pivot over to crafting now that I've got pathfinding pretty solid. I've got everyone's moving. I can move with the controller. I can move with W, A, and D. So let me turn off these enemies real quick. Ooh, shit. Math floor, unit actions per turn times some speed modifier, basically. Yeah, that might be it. That might be it. So, math floor, unit act. Yeah, I think it would be something similar to that. Because right now I'm just kind of. The fixed update is a good way to handle this, but it's. Because everyone's getting the same time or action update, but the urge for me to decompile and reverse engineer a game that is already nailed this is real. I'm definitely going to note this. This is a good idea. Now, and click to move. Really, that's what, yeah, I basically need to let them work out. Like here, when their turn comes, they get to work however many actions they get from that calculation is how many they do. And then they move on to the next one. And that way, so when it comes to combat animations, say they were next to me and they did like 4 combat attacks. Right now they teleport for movement, right? So that way they don't hold me up. The player's constantly able to move, the game's flowing. But in combat, I need to find that the maximum amount of time and combat animation can play. And I do need to tie all this into some kind of config that players can tweak. So more advanced players can dial up the speed of the game if they want to. And that way it flows faster, but it still stays fair. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Yep. Because in Elin, I don't think it's a default setting. And again, I'm really modeling it kind of after Elin and like Dungeon Crawl Soup and other games where you move, like I'm moving, the NPCs are teleporting, but it still feels fluid, right? And so this is kind of like what combat pacing looks like. And I believe there's some way to turn up the speed of this game. I know that's a thing. I'm probably gonna die. I have no health. Hold on. And this is, well, darn. Just wondering if the controller was gonna work. Oh wait, it's still disconnecting. Yeah, well, again, the NPC movement, it will always probably be teleportation because like XCOM and other games where you gotta like you move and then you gotta wait for everyone else to get their move done and keep everything in sync is to keep that fluid. It's really tricky. Like, and again, it's I don't even know how you really because again in Elin it's based off your speed stat and then everything is the turns are based off of that. And I think the equation from the wiki I saw is like 100 speed, 1 action, 200, 2 actions. So that's kind of the model I'm going after. But again, if I just resolve all those actions right here, uh, based off their speed, then everything just works. And then the player gets to do all their actions, and then all the NPCs get to take their actions all pretty much instantaneously outside of combat. Combat will allow for some tweening or interpolation or small animations to happen, right? Whereas movement will always be instantaneous. So when you can constantly move through the map and advance the game turns, and nothing's holding you up, and the game stays fluid, but still strategic, turn based, and all that. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely gonna be something I got to play with, and I think I am gonna do kind of what you're saying is just get it to where there's a config that allows or the player speed dictates their actions. They take their actions. If it's movement actions, it just they'll move from this position. Say they got 400 speed, they're moving 4 times. They're gonna go from here, and they'll advance on their path 4 spots. Whereas right now, they take a turn, they advance their path only 1 spot, no matter their speed. Yeah. I'm going to think this through more, and I'm probably going to pivot over to UI and the crafting system. But I mean, it's all working good now. Good enough to where I can start playing with these things, and I appreciate the input, man, for real. Because again, it's something I'm trying to nail. Yep, yep, yeah. And attacks being 2 would give me that spacing for the attack animations. I actually need to play more Elin and get deeper into it and actually do more combat besides just watching YouTube videos. So I've got a lot of the like the Rimworld esque, Dwarf Fortress esque. I'm kind of blending Rimworld and Elin is really kind of what I'm doing. Um, so like the crafting stations have a bill system that I can go say, hey, make me X number of these, and then all my NPC allies will search through the base inventory or search the environment for the ingredients needed to fulfill that bill at the crafting station. And then like the I don't have it all set up now at the moment, but my ally would when I had it or well, I think it is working still. I just got to get it all set up again. They would like walk to the ingredient in the environment or storage, pick it up, put it in their personal inventory, go to that station, they craft it, they finish that, then they should take that to the wherever I say you can deposit that item. So at any chest configured to take all items or weapons or whatever. And then they after that their other needs and psychological things kick in. So if they're hungry, then they don't have anything to work on. They would go find something to eat, or if there's nothing to farm and all that. So I'm wanting to flush out. So I did a lot of work recently on the items. So here's my item editor that I built. Um, so if I click on an item, it allows me to specify all the information about the item. It the icon, the world's prefab, and then the recipe here for it. So this is like one screen to create all the scriptable objects needed for an item and not have to sit here and click through the project window and right click create this scriptable object, right click create the recipe scriptable object, right click create item properties. I have this one editor window for item creation and I've got it really dialed in. So it really speeds up the production of creating new items. I can set the station, crafting station it's associated with, the property. So this chest chainmail vest has an armor stat property. Um, and due to polymorphism, items can have properties. So I could add um, a speed boost property to this guy, and I don't need to go script that out. Almost every system I've built out so far has been very scriptable object data driven, and then using things like polymorphism to allow like a chest could even have like any stat modifier, right? I just add a new property for that stat, um, or whatever, like a trait modifier or whatever. So I've got a really in-depth inventory and container system going on. I've even got pocket dimensions working. Pretty much like so if you look at like the core, I'll show you what the core property or item property class looks like. This is it. This is the item property scriptable object. Has nothing here, so it's the the abstract of that, right? So this allows the polymorphism to work. So now if I go to a weapon property, I can now I can give this item property, which is the weapon property, these factors and this its own logic. So every property that I create that I can attach to an item can define what it does. It can have its own custom logic, its own properties, and all that. And then it allows for a really flexible item, weapon, armor system. So like I could add this chest, this sword here could actually I could add an armor property to it. So like armor property. So now this sword gives me 5 armor for the chest, even though it and then it also has its damage property. And that's kind of how I've built out my item system. Um, I wanted the abstract class one. It doesn't. It's not a mono behavior, right? So it could be an interface too. You could go interface route this way. But I'm basically just keeping the the abstract class that all properties inherit from is just bare bones. It's there to allow for the polymorphism, and you can just define tons and tons and tons and tons of properties. So like I could have this like godly property or all that. Yep, yep. So every single system you see me build here is scriptable object backed and driven. So every system in my game is very designer friendly. Anyone can come in here and create new items, create new biomes, create new all this yada 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 yada. So I've been very focused on keeping things data driven and decoupled as possible, so I can take this inventory system, smack it in a new game, or bundle it up as an asset, sell it on the asset store. So basically, I've been building systems for every section of the game so far. So like, here's my biome generation. So I got my little layout here. So I've got this little pane here, and it's a pain in the ass. So there's 23 different props that can be spawned into this biome right now. And if you ever work with a procedural generation asset or any kind of system, each one of these things, you got to specify how much it's going to spawn. Minimum vegetation, fertility, does it spawn on rocks or avoid rocks? You can apply transform adjustments, so you can have offsets. If the 3D model's pivot is like in the center of it instead of at the bottom, I can adjust for that in the props without having to go into Blender and fix the pivot and stuff. But I created an intelligent biome populator, and it basically says, okay, if I see these keywords I can point out a folder of assets. So I have my forest folder of 3D models or prefabs, and I pointed at that. And instead of me having to add a new script or a new row into this array and then populate all this by hand, it will intelligently say, hey, does this prop contain the word tree, oak, birch, pine, fir? And it will give the default value for trees into my biome population stuff. So based off of the name of the system, yeah, no, this is I'm really proud of this thing here because it basically allows me to just get a folder full of assets that's going to be the biome, and then it will intelligently categorize them based off of the naming convention of the asset. And then like I can 23 setting up all 23 of these and tweaking the sliders, and then like all this and the randomized scale, position, rotation, all that to take forever. Lots of clicking, hundreds of clicks. But now I can just quickly build out a new biome from a folder of assets, and it will intelligently preset all these things for me. So like right now, I'm going to go ahead and clear this map, or I'm going to have to delete it manually. I gotta fix, I haven't got the save and import working quite yet. So if I delete this generation, now I can generate a new map, and it's got whole new setup, new spawns, all that. And some of the stuff I've built, this is a really cool trick too, is I've got buttons to help me analyze this section of the world map. And like here, I can hit that, and it will dump information onto my clipboard. So here I can see this section of the world has a vegetation range of 0.03 to 0.34, and with an average of this. And then the fertility range of this section of the world is this. And then I can have it dump out the number of objects that got spawned in this generation. So here I can see, I can kind of look at and say, okay, more, I need less of this or more of that, and I can tweak the density from here. And then I have it dump all the generation settings. So all the hilliness, the biome, how much rainfall, the temperature, the seed that was used, all the prefabs used for the ground, and all the props that are spawned into the scene and their information. It allows me to quickly analyze and fine tune the procedural gen real fast. Or I can take this and dump it into like Gemini with the procedural gen code and be like, all right, let's improve this section, or I want to like analyze this, right? So these little buttons here are just crazy handy, because I can just basically tally up all the spawned objects so I can know what spawned and where or how much, and then I can adjust it. So this is pretty good. Like this looks really good. It doesn't like large objects obviously aren't deleting other details that they spawn over. And like here I want to make sure large objects don't spawn over empty spaces too much. But right now everything, it's a single pass for the props. I'm going to have a per tile pass and then the large object pass. And when it drops one of these large logs, it's going to ensure that nothing, it doesn't, go into a tree or another large object, and it clears out any details in the section that it drops on. So that's another iteration of this system I'm going to work on here soon. But this is, yeah, so I don't know if you saw earlier, but have you played Rimworld by chance? um, so I've got the procedural planet generation here. I don't have the screen to allow you to adjust your toggles yet, but I've got it down. So if you've played Rimworld, you'll be very familiar with what I got going on here. So here's the world, and the yellow dots are settlements. Right, this is a settlement, and then I have road. The river generation and road generation is not great at the moment. It still needs improvement. But here, like this is a snowy area, like on top of a mountain. Up here is a tundra. If you want to do a tundra strop, burrell forest, shrubbered airlands, all that. And then what I do, this is for me to visualize the pearl and the data for each local chunk. And eventually you'll be able to see the chunk you're about to go into. But like as I'm clicking around, actually let me fix this. My triplanar shader is a little bugged. You can see that this is a mountainous area, right? So here's the Perlin noise for that map. And this data is what's used to generate the local map. I know. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying. But and again, this is my first stab at doing procedural generation without using an asset that does all the work for me 9 times out of 10. So all these systems you're seeing, I've hand rolled or worked with using my workflow now that I use kind of with Gemini. Like I'll deep research a topic or a feature that I want to build. I'll create a deep research report. From that, I'll create a project plan and break it into phases. And then I will use that project plan to, one, if I'm working with the AI through it, I use it to keep the AI on track no matter if I change context windows or whatever. I'm always working to that project plan and having it updated as we go. And then, or if I'm just working through it, it keeps my ADHD brain on track until the feature's complete. Um, so it's been really, really powerful. But let me show you character creation screen. Still dialing in this screen, but it's still really cool. Um, so I'm using UI Toolkit for almost all the UIs. I'm using Unity's new UI Toolkit, and like the old way, the canvas, the UGUI for UIs, you end up with, you got your canvas game object, and you got all the child objects, and there's just tons and tons of game objects and transforms and mono behaviors in the scene to make that UI work. And as your UIs get more and more in depth, more and more canvas objects, more and more game objects. With the new UI toolkit, it's like a web-based design workflow. You create your structure, your UXML, like HTML. You give your style sheet, your USS, like CSS, and then you have a script that is the controller that handles it. And I follow the MVVM pattern, so model view view model pattern with this when I'm creating UIs now. And because of that, I can use Gemini and other things to create the bones of a UI super fast. So most all of this was laid out using Gemini, and then I kind of dialed it in. And another really cool feature of the new toolkit is the debugger. So here, no, wait, that's builder. I don't want that. Debugger. Just like inspect element in Chrome, see, I can kind of like, I can select these elements and I can tweak them. I can change their settings, and I can figure out what element I want to kind of mess with, and then see how it's all working out. So UI Toolkit, I'm in love with this, dude. Like, I think Unity is done an amazing job with this, and it wasn't mature enough before, but recently they've really put the touches on it to where I felt good going with UI Toolkit as my main, because now it can handle world space. Yeah, dude, it's amazing. And it only one game object. So this is the game object that controls this UI. One single object with a UI document and the script that controls it, and another script. So one component, it runs so much faster. It works so much better. I'm in love with this workflow for game UIs. Like, it's insanely cool. And again, the AI agents and the Copilot or Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, can spit out UXML and the USS for you to get you there to a UI layout fast. I've been doing more work using the UI builder, which is really, really cool. So too, if you want to kind of do it yourself, I can come to this UI. And here's the UI builder. Now I gotta kind of fit to viewport. Since it's there's a lot of programmatic stuff in here, you're not going to see everything in the UI builder, but I can tweak a lot of stuff in here. And say if I tweak something over here, it becomes an inline. So like you inline a CSS rule in your HTML instead of putting in your style sheet, which you don't want to do. You can actually, so say I change the opacity of this thing, right? So now this is inlined. If you look at the UXML, it would be character. I'll just navigate to it. Dude, you know what's crazy? WinForms. I work at a top 15 Fortune 500 company, right? One of the biggest companies in the world. Our main UI technology for inside the pharmacy automations, I do a lot of factory pharmacy automation, so I do a lot of PLC programming, a lot of high-speed automations, right? WinForms, all over the damn place. I am still in 2025 inundated in wind forms, and I love wind forms. I'm not a hater. I actually love the shit out of wind forms. But it's funny because my job, there's still a lot of wind forms. We can't take everything from the desktop UI or process to the web, because sometimes if it's a high speed machine automation, it's got to be right there local. We need to minimize going across the network and all kinds of different things. So some things that we build, it just makes sense as a process running right there on the hardware, um, and to allow it to be as fast as possible. Because like when we're reading writing with a PLC, we want 5, 10, 20 second, millisecond read writes, all that. um, so it's just interesting, but I still work with wind forms a lot. They're out there, they're still breathing. Alrighty. um, yeah, it's hard to kill. Some technologies will just carry on into the future. Cobalt. If it ain't broke, I guess don't pay for millions of dollars to upgrade it. Alrighty. So you see, I got kind of the I need to connect these screens. I needed to connect the start screen to the world gen, to the character creator, and then into the local map like you saw. But they're there. This is kind of a start screen that I'm working on. I don't have a game name yet. I actually considered learning Cobalt if it was going to equal a 200K plus year position. um it would have to be like 200K plus for me to migrate to a Cobalt job. But it's amazing that they're not as highly paid as you would think a lot of times, but some companies have their Cobalt guys that are just paid very extremely handsomely because they know the ancient text. But yeah, I need a game name. I really need a game name. Do you know Arcanum? Steam, old Arcanum game, Steamworks and Magica or something. The world lore is kind of like that, where there's technology and there's magic, and they don't really uh, work the best. Like they mess with each other. So like in Arcanum, like a powerful mage would be forced to ride on the back of a train away from the engine, because he would start the magic will fuck up the technology if they're too powerful. Sometimes they just can't even ride it because they like check passengers for like magical items or high magical aptitude or whatever, because technology and magic kind of are at odds with each other. It's kind of the lore I'm going with roughly at the moment. Just that way I can have some technological stuff and still do magic, and it feels uh, it's got kind of a lore reason. If you played Skyrim and if you've modded Skyrim, I'm going with the Sky UI mod methodology for inventory. So this is kind of like the UI for inventory that I'm working with now. This is UI Toolkit also. Um, I think tech. Um, I like steampunk, but I don't want to get shoehorned into steampunk. You know what I mean? Um, the aesthetic of steampunk. I want, I'll probably find a middle ground between steampunk and tech. Um, because you are gonna have your kind of your some of your standard, like I want like your humans. I want to have a wide range of races. You can play like a Dampier, a Fae, a human, uh, different stuff like that, and allow you to really because I'm not gonna be like, uh, yeah, yes, yeah. You got a kill streak, nuke him. Uh, I'm working. I'm trying to find someone who's good at storytelling and world building to work with me to define that out more. I've got the blueprints laid out, um, and all that. Should hop in my Discord, homie. Uh, I'd knowledge dump in there about uh, all kinds of different crap, mostly about my game. But I was also building or modding like Ultima Online. I almost added proximity chat to Ultima Online. I got the infrastructure built. I got it working, connecting, um, and then I got the peer to peer and co-turn WebRTC working to where players could connect to each other no matter if you're double natted, your whatever your network is, mobile, restrictive. I could get everybody connected in the proximity chat tech, and because again, like I was going to try to keep it to where I could bring proximity chat to these open sourced older MMOs. Um, and I've learned a lot, and I know I got it working pretty much. But I was like, man, I'm spending way too much time modding UO. I need to ship a game or work on my game instead of modding an existing game. So now I'm back to just kind of full time Unity dev. But I just nerd out in the Discord. I just ADHD dump in there all day long. All right. Back to crafting. Let's do that. And where that whole rant was going is this level you see here is a chunk, is one of those sections of the planet. So when I do regenerate this, the ground terrain actually stays the same. It's just all the details here are randomized. So you, if there's a river running through your land that you land on, and then north of you that river continues, you go from that chunk to that chunk. That river is those geographical have continuity. Yes, yes, you've spoke you've described me very well. I've made some progress. I've checked in twice tonight, I think. All right. So I'm going to work on crafting and getting the stations working. Um That's my man, frequent check-ins. It's the way to go. What are you working on? All right. So, I've got all my I've been avoiding putting actual artwork and real assets in here so far because I don't want to muddy up the work. Oh, nice, nice. I haven't done a lot of software as service work, um, but I mean, it's there's definitely money in it for sure. I'm hoping to, you know, ship a game and it do some amount of numbers. Uh, but like I love these assets and stuff, but I haven't really committed to a full art direction yet. So I was hesitant to bring in like actual assets and not just use cubes for the stations. What, you don't want to data transfer the world? I don't think I've used GraphQL yet, but I've heard a lot about it. I'm actually I'll be giving a presentation. I'll be a keynote speaker at the University of British Columbia on AI in November. I've been getting a lot of. I've been kind of driving forward a lot of AI engineering at work, and like I like running the AI models on my GPU, right? I like building my pipelines and processes and jobs on my 4090. The amount of stuff I've done on my 4090 is insane. And a lot of these enterprises are just, they default to having Amazon or Azure or OpenAI host the models because these foundational models, you can 100% run it on your own hardware um, and save you a shitload of money. Because like I've been working on like an auto documenter like deepwiki.com for hundreds of code projects. Now, if you think about hitting someone's API or their foundational model, that's a lot of money. It's going to start racking up, especially in the enterprise level. And I could auto document our entire code base on our section of the world with a 4090, like in the electric bill from that. So I've been trying to drive that home to a lot of people in the enterprise world and around the developer communities. Like it's just because like DeepSeek, like the second Meta, all these guys drop a new model or whatever, there's an open source model that is basically benchmarking or beating it within a short amount of time usually. So it's I'm a big proponent of local AI models, and I feel like the open source on device AI models is really coming along fast. And you don't need to be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for a simple process that has it's doing a lot of work, a lot of queries or prompts. Um, yeah, man, it's just, and like HB 100 is not that much. No, so yeah, now as for like your coding, your co-pilots and your in editor IDEs, yeah, I 100% agree with you there. Um, and again, Copilot, it's like $20 a dev, and it's all you can eat, right? Pretty much. And now Claude and some of these others just kind of pay as you go. Yeah, so that, yeah, any processes, any jobs, anything where you're just hammering away at stuff, it's not a human interacting with it. It can be relegated to a on memory in memory model and save companies hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, a year, depending on the how much it's being hammered. Or now 700 architects. I'm part of a large one that's like 2,500 under the whole that section, but my specific section of devs is 100 less or 100 or less, right? So I think with an HB 100 and just a little infrastructure investment, we could have our own lab or environment to test and play at a cost free way and build out these proof of concepts, but also for those non critical things where you just need it, you can turn it on and let it work. So, like the auto documenter, I'm thinking of like it will monitor for PRs, it'll monitor for check ins, and then it will see what's changed, analyze it. It will create the plant UML and the architectural diagrams and all that, and update the wiki as it sees changes coming into the environment. Because I've kind of figured like deepwiki.com is a really great example. It uses Debian AI though, which is one of the more costly ones. It's crazy when you look at the numbers. Um, they really need to figure out what they're doing. Devin AI. I just don't see that being cost effective for a lot of people. well, again, if you look at you can run those Gemini model or Chat GPT models. They got you can run those foundational models in your own memory. It may not be the latest, greatest one, but it's still what was working great, an iteration ago. Um, and like if you look at I can't remember. I saw this cost calculator. It's like they were like estimating how much it costs to process X amount of documents, this many tokens, yada 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 yada. Um, their calculator, I don't know if it was really accurate, but it's a crazy number. Like 500K a year for that use case, I think, and that use case could be completely handled by a local AI with a RAG database or whatever. Um, so it's not like you need like the latest greatest for some of these processes and stuff too. So like it's all about, yeah, you got to find what is your needs and demands and all that. I would like to see because we're just kind of getting into it. So I haven't got to see because one person's using Amazon Bedrock, right? And he's like they were doing some prompting and whatnot, and they racked up like $150 fast with that. Um, and if you take that $150, like over I don't know 2,000 developers, that's a big bill versus Copilot, 20 bucks a developer. It's an interesting space, man. Like it's just nuts. Like seeing all the different use cases and where different enterprises are at with it and how they're thinking about it. Because a lot are defaulting to, yeah, we don't want to host it. We don't want to build up our infrastructure and actually run foundational models. We want to rely completely on the services. And it's unless you're on a US East One on AWS, you're fine. You know, I can't believe that. It was a what was that like a 15 or 20 hour downtime recently? Yep, that it is the rotisserie chicken of AI models. Oh gosh. What's really funny is we're pushing towards getting some of our stuff in the cloud and whatnot, and they were if you're not across the regions, and data replication is another cost factor for adding, going from just being on like USA East One. Um, it's I think recent events have made people may have the effect of some people like either expanding the resiliency and going replicating across more regions, or thinking about how they can toggle back to their own infrastructure for critical systems. Oh yeah. It's just and again, I can't believe it was a DNS thing, man. That's always like the scapegoat. Like, it's DNS. All right. Crafting. Let's do the stations. I need to get a script to where. Oh, it is? That's hilarious. So a lot of the stuff I do, like I said, has to be high speed, high volume. So a lot of it doesn't even leave the intranet. It stays on the network, and we're right there at the machine level. Um, so it's not everything when it comes to high speed PLC automation is never, some things are just never going to be a candidate for cloud, or even like rapid web service calls inside your own network, right? So a lot of like, I don't know, you see some of these things like the package sorter, like this one we have, it's fast as fuck, dude. Like packages fly out come from induction, fly onto the belt, and like it just moves so fast and everything is so precise. It's just really cool to see. But in those instances, man, you gotta have it fast and low level, and right there. There's just no way you could like go out to the cloud or even do frequent web service calls and have that machine working as fast as it does. So you kind of do a lot of pre-work as it gets to those automations. If you can kind of figure or make those calls and stuff prior to that, and then it executes. I really like doing PLC programming and doing the software hardware stuff. It's really fun. Yeah, yeah. I built a web service to go out to FedEx, versus their on-prem server software, and yeah, after we tested it and benchmarked it, yeah, it was not gonna be the win. Or it could be used for anything that wasn't a high-speed automation. Fine, yeah, but yeah, anything that's rapidly rate chopping or packing out labels and shit, not gonna cut it. So I have my UI. Why are you empty? Let's see. I think I may have blown away all my test data. I think that's what's going on. Oh, yeah, that is what's going on. That's right. Yep, 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 yep. Let me fix that. If you've played old roguelikes, ADOM, a lot of any, I want to make it to where the UI, like this UI right here, you can work with your left hand. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Like, or on the controller, there's a lot of shortcuts you can use to hit different elements and use them so fast. So like, you can quickly sort switch categories. You can then pick the recipe from the list with another key press, update your quantity, and then hit the craft key. So basically, you could pop open this UI. You're gonna be able to menu real fast. So if like I knew I was trying to craft X clubs or whatever, I would open it up, switch to the weapon category, click the say it's the third entry recipe down the list. I would click the key that corresponds to that. Then if I don't change the quantity and just hit C in 3 clicks, I've crafted that item. Um, and that and again, the older roguelikes or games that had more or older UIs always had like a key press you could do for every kind of item, and that's kind of the methodology I'm following, but I'm going to have it translate to the controller as well. So whenever there's going to be a controller layout for every interface that allows you to basically do what I was just talking about, but with the controller. So like if I hold the left trigger, all the keys become, of course, you can correspondingly click on certain aspects of the UI and allow you for quick menuing on keyboard and mouse is my goal. And so again, RSI, less clicking, less doing things, and working menuing faster is a big goal of mine. Um, I've got it partially working right now, but I got to flesh it out some more. I've got the categories working right now. I haven't got the system over for this sections yet working. But I'm going to focus on this UI and get that working and then make it a generic enough system that I can apply it auto-magically to future UIs where buttons, list items, it's really, those are kind of the big ones, will get keybind automatically associated with them. What am I looking for here? Item defs. There we go. So now I've associated the recipes back with the resource database. And it should, yeah, okay. So now it's populating. So here I can hit 2 to go down to, or 3 to go to clubs, 6 to go to magic items, spears, etc. Or I can go hit A to go back to all and list them all. The player's input is still going in the background. I got to toggle it off when the UI is up. But then the next thing is this list view will have a list of keys, and you can quickly kind of page through it if there's more than this here, but there'll always be a dedicated key here. And then over here, the C is going to probably be dedicated for craft. And then I'll have a dedicated button on the controller. But you can basically category, pick your recipe, then modify the quantity with like Z or X, for example, on the controller. So like I can go to 4 and then hit, or if there was a list of 5 guns, I would hit the key that gets auto assigned to that list item, and now it selects it, and then I can just hit C to craft, or Z and X to up the quantity, then hit C to craft. Is kind of the goal. So what I think I'm going to do is get this list here, its key binds, and that way I can go boom, boom, boom. So I'm going to work this way. And again, this is a generic form. Every crafting station will be able to leverage it. But that's kind of my menuing and UI methodology and work thought space right now in my head. Mainly just because I want to be able to play longer and menu less and get more done with less. Because again, the main reason I want to focus on keyboard controller support is I can't keyboard and mouse game for a long period of time. So controller support's really important to me. Not just half-baked afterthought controller support either. All right, so recipe list. Let's go to its UI. So I need to add a visual element. So this is a button, and each label is in there in the flex grid. So inside of this one, so first thing I need to do is nest these labels inside the visual element, and then add a, where's the icon? Oh, that's the icon. So I need a label before the icon is what I need. So let's copy. Yep. What's cool too is you can basically create components or widgets like you would any kind. So here's that row element right here. So what I'm going to do is add another label in the front here. This is the class, like your CSS class. So now I will go to the CSS of this guy. This is just so reminiscent of web development now. It's just crazy. So I'm going to copy you. Should be good enough for now. Okay, so I've added the new label in front of that, right? And this is going to get mapped to a key just like these are here. And these are probably going to be QWE, like, so you got, it'll work. And again, if I want to keep it to where your left hand can control most of the menu, right now I'm kind of breaking that methodology because the over here you can go all the way to the 0 key for category sorting. So that's not left hand completely workable, but it's, you know, caveat. All right, so now we're going to go to the script that drives this, and I'm going to populate it with a keybind. Actually, I'm going to go back here and set the Q. Let's do that for now, so it defaults to something more legible. All right, so Q still fits good. I'm gonna, these background borders, I'm gonna get them to be more tapered without this banner or this line stuff here. That way I can leverage. it just doesn't feel good having like the text overlap this. It feels like everything should fit inside this blank area here. And I want to maximize the amount of form I can use. So I'm going to change the background image in Photoshop for these guys at some point, and then it'll look better. So let's go to the script, driving you. Pardon me. So this has become too long. I need to refactor this out. I've got it owns too many responsibilities right now. I will eventually break this out, and I have a pattern that I've implemented in other UIs, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it be. So set up recipe list view. So this is the data binding. Um, yeah, okay, this is where I want to do this. So I'm going to grab that label. And the way you can, so you go back to your markup, and then just grab this guy, and then be able to grab that element and programmatically work with it. I almost need to iterate over the list and then populate it. So I need a set data. Okay, yeah, it's right here. So I will now a scrollable list view is going to complicate this a little bit, because instead of saying there's 10 items that can be displayed at any time with pagination, that's going to be way more controllable with this system than a scrollable list view, to where I need to on scroll detect which items are in the pane and then get make sure that they're assigned the key. So I think what I'm going to make it is there's going to be X number of items in that list, and you paginate through it. And that way I can easily assign 10 keys. There'll always be the same 10 keys binding in this list, and this will be the same on all stations. So you will, after a little while, your muscle memory will be like, okay, I know this key is the fifth element. Great movie, great movie. So I think adding pagination to this guy first is probably pertinent. For now, I'm just gonna... actually, I'm just gonna get the keybinds in for the top 10 items in the list, and then I will do pagination next. So here on set data, so now as I'm iterating over this guy, I'm gonna have a method called get next keybind text for recipe. And I will I need an iterator. I'm going to keep track of it with an index. Okay. So 10 items. So, okay, on the left side of the keyboard, I've got the numbers. Numbers are category binds. Now these will be QWE. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Quit pressing the key, Bill. Oh, beautiful. There we go. Well, that's kind of what I was wanting. But I don't want that. So QWERT. Y, no. Y will be S. A is already reserved for the all category. So A will take you back to the all category. So SDF. G. And I'll find a better way of doing this in the future, but this will work for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. Just so it's kind of sequential, we'll go Z. And that'll cover 10 items, so 10. Actually, I don't need to bring this. I don't need to make this every time we make this call. Okay. I'll find a better way of figuring or doing this, but for now, this will work. So I want to iterate. Yep, just like that. Do I want... I don't think I want plus plus. I think that's going to start off on 1 and go... It's going to bypass 0. So I don't think that's what I want. I'll try it out, but I believe that's what's going to happen. This will basically start off on index 1. So it'll start from W and work over to Z. Pretty sure. I should increment it afterwards. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Actually, if it does increment after, that would be sweet, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. Okay. So now this should set the text on that element. And we're one step closer to the heavens of menuing like a G. QWERTSDAGHQ. Or it looped over, so. So I need 11. This fits 11 items nicely. So I need... Fucking, why's it gotta be 11? I guess ZX. We'll do it ZX. Okay, so now that's that. Register callbacks. Execute craft. I'm using the old input system here for quickness, but I really need to probably stop and get the action set in the new input system built out. Because a temporary fix is the most permanent fix, if you know what I mean. But I want to be fast right now and just see it work. Now, is there a programmatic way to get the current press key? Because right now I'm saying if this key is down, I could do a switch case. Put dot get key. Yeah, I'm just going to do a switch case for now. If import key. This feels, I don't want to do this, but I want to see it work, so. actually think. Oh, badass. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So now we're going to loop over our keybinds. We're going to try to parse out the key code for that. And if that key is down, we're going to select yes. I think that'll do it. You ever menued so fast in your life? Now that's an issue. It went to. This should. Whenever I change categories, I need to rebind or reset the keybind. So let's go back to all. And then if I hit Z, I go to that. I go to there. Interesting. I'm pressing X and it's going to Z. Do I got something off? It's working though. Why the fuck would it be doing that? Let's check. So I press Z. I is less than 9. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm off by 1. And that's because I am doing a count. Oh, wait, I bet you I know it. There's 11 recipes. Weird, it's. Let me stop. And then restart. Because it didn't start. It didn't. Because I changed categories, I think my bindings were off in the recipe list. It should have started with Q and it was starting with X. All right, so now if I do W, okay. We take this breakpoint out. Q, Z, X. Okay, that was just caused by me not rebinding or resetting the keybinds on list change. So QWE. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Why is G not working? Oh, it's just because I lost focus. So you see the vision, it's working out. So now on recipe selection, no category change. So when I press all, I just want to take 11. I need to implement pagination to really get this foolproof. Tab would be a really good paginator. Well, I got V and B for pagination, and then C would be crafty, but then I don't have quantity. Control and Shift could increment and decrement quantity. So total number of keys I would need, I'm going to say 10, 11 for the categories, 11 for here, 2 for quantity incrementation or incrementing, and then 1 for crafting. So that is a total of 11 plus 11 plus 2 plus 1, 25 keys. And I can get that done on the left side of the keyboard if 7, 8, 9, and 0, that's the one time you're going to have to lift your hand from the left side of the keyboard, is to change category. But if I support numpad, you could change category with your right and still focus over here. Well, I'm going to support numpad. But what I'm thinking here is, so if left trigger, so the default controller scheme for this guy, obviously, I think bumpers will switch categories. The left stick will obviously or go up and down the recipe list. There's no need for, and then X and Y will increment the quantity that you want to use, and then A will be craft. So that's how you'll navigate it without hotkeying it. Basically the triggers will switch the keys that what their buttons correspond to. So you pull the trigger, left trigger will, so I got, if I'm holding left trigger, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Left trigger basically maps all the keys to a category, and it'll change the glyphs. Instead of saying A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, it'll show the controller glyphs. That you're using. Now, this is where it's going to get annoying, and rewired probably would save me some time. Is I needed to know if it's a PlayStation controller, if it's an Xbox controller. I probably only support those two, and I'll have the glyphs update. But left trigger lets you quickly select a category with a button press. So left trigger, click the corresponding key to change category. Right trigger will allow you to quickly pick a recipe from the list. So press the left trigger, the glyphs change, click the corresponding key. So say if you want to switch category, pick a recipe, that's 4. So pull trigger, click, pull trigger, click, and then let go, and then XY for quantity and A to craft. So the minimum key presses to quickly pick to craft with the controller would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you don't change quantity. And you could, again, quickly menu even with the controller. I love it. That's probably not going to how, like, that's the idea, right? Because again, quick menuing with the controller I think would be invaluable. Because using a virtual mouse, if the left stick or right stick was move the mouse around, and I think I'll support right stick as your mouse. You can move the mouse and then click to work the UI like you would in Destiny or other games that use a virtual mouse, right? But um, I'm going to definitely support fast menuing from uh, keybinds on the controller to the UI. And again, once I have this panned out for this UI, I will then take that and get it generalized and genericized for every UI. Um, so you can work the most, you'll be able to menu really fast. Now, again, menuing fast is like a speedrunner thing typically, but for me, I want to be able to use the controller and the game feel good, and I can get stuff done in UIs fast without having to move the virtual mouse and click and move the virtual mouse and click and try to get that sensitivity dialed in and the intelligent snapping of elements. And again, it's going to be kind of odd to people at first, but I think it's, again, if you can, I could create 5 recurve bows, and I could craft a recurve bow in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks. And I could do that once you've got that pattern down and you know which keybinds on the controller map to what and how that works. When you bring this screen up, and B will always back you out of the screen, but you can quickly menu every single thing without having to use a virtual mouse. Because a lot of, I don't know, the virtual mouse works. It works, but it is a pain point. And it always kind of drags down. So like No Man's Sky, Destiny, they have that virtual mouse with a grid system, a grid based UI, right? I'm avoiding grids because I want fast menuing. So instead, I'm kind of following like the Pip Boy methodology. are list views for most everything that I do. And again, I don't I don't know. I don't get any enjoyment from like organizing a chest of grids and whatnot. Like, I don't know. Like, and again, it's just not in controller friendly, especially if that grid is like a little grid that's in the bottom corner of the UI and you're using a virtual mouse to try to click on it and drag that item from here to there. I'd rather have built in filtering that lets you take whatever container you're looking at, filter it down fast, but also menu it fast. It's 11 o'clock? Shit. Oh man, I'm just hitting my stride. This is good though. So I've got the menuing almost complete for keyboard and mouse. Um, I got some styling updates. I don't like that blue selection highlight rule. And I want the menu key white. White's a little rough to read on this parchment look. So I'm probably go with black. I'm gonna redraw the panel so that they get rid of this like or basically I'll probably just shrink this down into a small strip on the edges, and that way all this stuff can sit here. This text needs to be, it has more margin and padding on this side, on the right side, because this grim is pushing too close to the edge. This I kind of like where this is padded and margined. That's good. Pretty happy with this. These may come over. Um, there's going to be, I'm trying to determine, I think, let's see, how many of these could I fit here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably, I need to max this out and see how many of these fit here, but I'm going to have a max ingredient or material per recipe. So, like, 5, so say it fits 6, 5 slots for different materials that you can specify for a recipe. And the sixth one is going to be your optional thing, an optional item that you can add to the recipe to enhance it. So, like a rune, which I think runes I'm going to call regalia. Um, and it could be more than just runes. It could be just like like an extra material that enhances it, but it'll also be where you apply runes and or like sockets, if you will. Um, and I also have to make, so there'll be 5 different types of trees you can cut down that have different hardness, right? So the log here, when you click on it, it should pop up all the log types you have in your inventory or on you, and let you pick a different type of log from a different tree here. So, and that will change the outcome of the items too. So, um, these things, just like a log, could have, you could use different logs from different trees that have different material or that would bestow different hardness and different properties onto an item and allow for a real deep customization and crafting that way. But the bones are here. The bones are definitely here. I think I might keep going till midnight. I should probably call it, but kind of in the zone. Let's update the text to black. I'm just so happy. Actually, that's another thing. So, changing the category needs to change the the keybinds. It needs it basically just set them again. So Q, start from Q, work down. So players will get that muscle memory. They'll know Q is always the first recipe, keybind, and then X is the last one. And then it's sequential here, and then A to go back to your full list. I think A actually attempts, because the numbers get all funky here. Now Q's in the middle. So that's another thing. Category changes need to ensure that the keybinds are consistent over here. I need to add pagination buttons down here that you can page with V and B on the keyboard, or you can scroll the mouse wheel to page. So wherever your mouse is hovering, mouse scroll will change that. It will scroll through that item. It will scroll through pages here because you're going to click to, if you're using mouse to select, you can just click, and then page, you can page with the mouse wheel. And if your mouse wheel's hovering over here, mouse wheel will hover or scroll through categories. And then mouse wheel over here won't do anything. If mouse wheel is over categories, it will scroll through the categories. If it's anywhere else, it will scroll through the recipe list, or the pages of the recipe list, I think. And then, yeah. So I've made some progress on the actions, the speed, the pathfinding, controller support, and movement. Fixed the movement tonight. I've got through some more menuing and UI work for the crafting station screen. I'm pretty happy with what I got done. And I think I am gonna call it here. I wanna sit there and think on this stuff some more, and then before I get too deep into it. And another thing is I need to create the action set for the crafting menu. So instead of using the old input system like I am here, I'm going to be using the new input system. This is good for prototyping, and it's a band-aid temporary fix, but temporary fixes have a way of becoming permanent fixes. So I need to do this now and not put it off. But anywho, pretty happy with the work. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Crazy numbers on YouTube tonight. Yeah, actually, I might be one of my best streams ever. So I appreciate you guys for sure. I dropped my link tree recently. I'll drop it one more time here. Join or hop in the Discord, subscribe and like if you can. Follow me on Twitch or Kick or X. Again, I think I'm switching out X for Facebook streaming. I'm probably gonna start that and do that tomorrow. But I'll be back on tomorrow. Because I'm really jazzed with this, and I should have a pretty easy day to where I'll be on tomorrow night to finalize some of these systems that I'm talking about. So it's been good talking to y'all. Have a good one, and have a good night.